family, this is Akiwali, and Akiwali, is an artist who have covered, this globe. And it is very important that we able, because of where the world is at this point in time, it is very great that we have, these virtual and Zoom as what they would call it. And I am happy to be here with Sir Cliff and Jeff Stan, the man, so we can go forward and share my experience as an artist, as an author, as a swim coach, as a basketball coach, as a speaker for children and uplifting children in school, and as a competitive swimmer and as a competitive basketballer, and we're going to move into the pieces that we wanted to share and Zoom for the wider public or for the world at large. This piece is called the Candle Lighting Ceremony.
Candle lighting ceremony. Candle lighting ceremony. Yes, yes. This image. This was an image that part of my collection. And this was painted, I think, 1984. This was painted in 1984. And is a cousin of mine that was actually in that church, and she invites me to come. It's Pokominian. Same again, African culture. And that's the Pokominian side of the religion. And they were having like a ceremony that they call, it was a ceremony that was there. Fundraising. But their fundraising is different from how we come to know fundraising now. What they was doing is that people would actually put in what they're putting in to give the church as a collection and light a candle. You cannot light a candle if you don't put a collection on the collection plate. And you light the candle, and when all the candle lit, they out them again and start. So it can go on till the next morning. Because the main thing is to get funds for whatever, fix a toilet, add on a space in and repair some of the church, or something like that. So from all the denomination that connected with that, they call those revival church, they would come and support that fundraiser at that particular night. So you have different members from different church come there and they support. So you light a candle and you put your donation, you light a candle. So that's why it is called candle lighting ceremony. I learned something on the night that I went there because I didn't know the depth of that, and I learned that. And it became a part of my prize piece. I hold it, and then I went to New York to do a show. Not to sell the piece, but to show it. And somebody convinced me that they would pay me such for it. It is in their collection now. But I think the person passed on, so I don't know. It's gone to the family. Plant a seed. Plant a seed is a brilliant piece of work. That's another lithographic piece that, I've seen across the globe. A lot of people is, actually own a lithographic piece of that one. And I still have them on the market. I got a couple thousand still in my collection. So people can even make link if they want. If they want a signed copy of that piece, That piece was painted, I think it painted, in the early 2000s, around 24, 6, around that time, in the early 2000s, that one thing. And, my thing was basically, eat what you grow and grow what you eat, plant a seed, don't get into wanting to reap and doesn't plant. And it's just general, it's not even basically saying a tree or a plant or a flowers or a fruit tree or whatever. It's just life. It's just life. I'm just using that as a symbol to life. Don't go out there and just focusing in reaping or consuming, you know, manufacture, plant, you know. So that is just my little take on that, plant a seed. And you can see all these tropical fruit. A lot of them is famous to Jamaica, you know, the sweet sap, the sour sap, you know, so much of them, what they call it, we call it pear over there, they call it over here, you know, avocado, you know, and that. So we have a lot of fruit, you know, we got all the rose apple, where a lot of people don't know about the rose apple, yeah? Rose apple is, you open the rose apple and you're smelling rose. You smell rose, and I say rose, you're smelling rose. And I remember I used to go up to Cherry Garden and up to Barbican, up to them hillside up in Jacksonville. Yeah, and go pick them, and go pick rose apple. You know, but rose apple wasn't spread over the country. So a lot of people, even in Kingston, didn't even know how a rose apple tree stay, or even know rose apple, you know? So, you know, I bring those to the fore in that actual piece of artwork, you know? And family, just inspect the work when we're doing the virtual show, and you will see a lot of fruit that you love, and a lot of fruit who can make a nice fruit punch. But you okay?
Yeah, hold on a second, Aki. Can you identify the rose apple in that image?
Yes, rose apple is that one at the bottom. Yeah, that small brown one at the bottom. I think it's the bottom left or something like that. It's at the bottom, a small brown one. And I think another one beside. I think it's three of them actually paint together. Yeah, three look around and they're in light brown. Like a more skin tone.
Because it sounds like an exotic fruit which is not well known. I don't know what
it is. This is one of the rare fruit. And what happened with those three? I think if they're not extinct, they're about to extinct. Those trees rare to find. Jeff Tan, my brother. Yes, Lindsay, this one is called LINSTEAD Market. And when you're talking about LINSTEAD Market, it is a history in Jamaica culture, marketing, and wholesale culture in fruit. That was one of the main hubs where people from Spanish Town, Kingston, mainly Kingston, they would come and actually buy their fruits and vegetable and whatever, ground provision from farmers in and around that area, but they come to LINSTEAD, yeah, and sell their stuff wholesale, and then the Igla would take it to Kingston or Spanish Town, you know, and distribute and, you know, sell on. So LINSTEAD is what I would say is embedded in our culture, you know, our market culture. So till it even, in our folk song, they even make a song, you know, that kind of connected with that market. And I'm just going to give you a couple lines of that song. Carry me Aki go a LINSTEAD market, not a quati what sell. Carry me Aki go a LINSTEAD market, not a quati what sell. Oh boy, what a night, not a bite. What a Saturday night, Lord. What a night, not a bite. What a Saturday night. Then we just go on and say, everybody come feel up, where them woman now bring. Everybody come feel up, where them woman now bring. Oh Lord, what a night, not a bite. What a Saturday night. And we just go on because other thing in our culture, you know, is that the sellers always say, you know, don't come touch and feel up, you know, my goods, you know, because when you feel it up and serve it up, you know, nobody else now come bite, you know. So this is part of the song, the line of the song. Everybody come feel up, you know, and them now buy. Not a quati or something like that. So LINSTEAD is a culture in our culture, LINSTEAD market, you know, and a lot of people is fun with LINSTEAD market because you could get a lot of different exactly fruit, just like the planter seed that I was talking about earlier in LINSTEAD market because of the location in St. Catherine. Yes, the snow cone man. It's a spin-off of the LINSTEAD market too, you know. It's a spin-off of the LINSTEAD market because that image was somebody selling them ice cream in a LINSTEAD market. But you see, our culture have evolved and it's changed. And sadly, yeah, a lot of the younger one in 2 generations after me, yeah, that the changes of the culture, they are not exposed to it the way I used to expose to it when I was a child. You know, because I don't use kids, you know, because I tell people plain, you know. See, a goat and sheep have kids, you know. Human being, you know, have children. So me just remember, say, me just go and use the children and the picnic where we use through our tongue, you know, in Jamaica, where them call patois. Yeah? So me always remember, say, our children, our child. Yes, and those children, yeah, was so always ready to get, that's in my time, ready to get them ice cream from the ice cream vendor. Yeah, that sometimes them produce their own cream, you know, they get all the different ingredients and they make them own cream and use it and put ice around it and roll it up in a little thing. We used to say one man, creamer man, make him cream. Yeah, as a little youth. So this is grabbed me as an artist and I said this is something to preserve. You notice how I put the ice cream, the thing that him take the cone from, him put it upside it down. And it was so nice for me to paint it upside it down because, you know, I deal with reality. I don't pretty up nothing. I deal with how the thing presents itself, you know, and that is called ice cream vendor. Kumina Dance was painted in 2006, yeah? And at that time I wasn't painting as much as I used to paint when I just started to paint, but I was selecting images, you know? I was seriously selecting images because I wanted to kind of focus on our culture and see how much I could capture different cultural image and different things that could educate and could entertain in whatever way. And I've painted about 3 different images of the Kumina Dance, and this is one of them, you know. And honestly, I don't know where these pieces. I don't, because a lot of my pieces, you know, that was kind of dear to me. I wasn't too interested to sell them, so I was actually storing them, you know, keeping them in my collection. I still have some in my collection, but by moving over to the United Kingdom and all of that, and travel back and forth to Jamaica and travel to various places, you know, sometimes, you know, you miss a little piece here and there. And I think majority of my pieces I've missed up in Jamaica, you know, but I'm going to still search for whatever I can find. But as I said, I'm always happy that I have Sprix's latest images of them. That we didn't even know so not now coming with live name virtual show where people can talk to people from camera. Me even call it glass case. Yeah, when you talk on the phone and I look on somebody else and I talk, I call it glass case, and this is like a glass case thing. And why I call it glass case, I remember as a youth, when we go to the shop and we go to buy toto or we go to buy gizzard or cut cake, or even in school, these people who come with them little glass case, and you could look through the glass case to see what's in there. And it's the same thing looking through the phone to see the next person on the other side. So I just call it glass case.
From the Kumina, the dance, Kumina.
Yeah.
What year was that?
The painting was painted in 2000, but Kumina Dance, Kumina Dance is part of our culture. Is the African, it's just the same African connection with our people.
It's a
that
traditional.
was actually transshipped through the Middle Passage. It's the same thing in our blood. Anyway you put we, with DNA can't change, Anyway you put we, the talking, the movement, the dance, moving the hip, anything, the gesticulating, anything. Anywhere you put African people, you can't take Africa out of them. Yeah? You put me in the river, I still have Africa in me. It's not river me having in me. You put me in Jamaica, me have Africa in me. Anywhere you put me, and thing, anywhere you put African people. So it was natural for the Kumina dance, and it was famous through the Compound Town. Because Compound Town was another part with these people that used to travel back in the days, and remember this nanny history, and it was part of the history where they always sometimes running from the slave master, trying to protect themselves and all of that. So these dance actually developed round in the eastern part of Jamaica, But it spread the country. It become a part of the culture that even when you got like dancing in school, these children them do it. You have like at the dance theater, professional dancers, Kumina Dance. When people know, you could go online and check, and there is so much information. Yeah, it was the maroon. Yeah, I was trying to remember the maroon. Yeah, the maroon connection through a compound town, the Kumina dance, all of that is colluding one. All of that is African culture, Yes, this is called skill piece. Yeah, them little girl they want to show who is the most skillist. And then again, as I earlier explained about my connection with painting images of children, not just particularly in school, but children, because them is the future, and it's good to show, even when a child grew up, to show them even an image and say, I did you that, And they must say, I never me. I say, yes, man, I did you that, because, one thing I find in the system that we come to know now that, a lot of children is losing them youthness because of so much involved in the computer age, in this, and they are exposing to, and and then you get some really terrible people in our society, in our midst, and this is why I always, try to preserve that and show to the people themselves. That's how youth should be. Youth must happy and jolly, and youth must be youth, because the next girl is actually waiting on the next one, to show the next one, say, I'm much more skilled than you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk on this and show you how skilled I am, and that is a proper highlight. Yeah, that's a proper highlight of what it was to be youth, what is really youth, and thing. And I would say that parenting, just focus on try to make a youth maintain them youthness. That's when they grow up. That's when them grow up as adults. They can say, well, me did really enjoy my youthness. So, I would be that adults that going to be very valuable, put value to the society. Because I did have my youth, so I have to be something else, I'm the adult now, yeah? So, and that piece, that piece being 206, as I said, and it was bought by we went to see the people who operate the Scotia Bank in Jamaica, but we went to the head office because the person always buy pieces from us, and they buy pieces for all the branches around the island. And when that person see the collection and saw that piece in the collection, that was one of the first pieces him grabbed. So I didn't keep that piece so long. You know, I painted like this week and it's still like 2 weeks, 3 weeks time. You know?
And that's the same enamel part. Yeah? That is the same one with the schoolgirl. The schoolgirl, that's the other side. With the schoolgirl sucking her snow cone. I don't call it suck. And she turned her tie behind her. It is like school over and she going home. But that's just PR style that. She not in school, so she just turn her tie at the back and sucking her socks up, you know. And these are things that sometimes we miss out on. But the good thing about brush, canvas, paint, and artists, you know, when you capture that thing, then when the public see it, they said, oh, you know that I see it, but I didn't really pay that much mind to it. But now that the artist capture it, it bring a different light to it, you know? Turning her tie behind her and sucking her socks up. Yeah? Kisco pop or whatever them call, because different things. Socks up, kisco pop, sky juice and all of that. That's the same enamel thing again. And that's an African image. With this woman in an African marketplace, you know, and she's showing some African craft to somebody who's interested to buy her something like that. And I like the image, and I decided to put the image on, you know. And it is the same enamel water and tea. Yeah, this one is called Education is the Key. And if you realize how tight these two girls is, proper friend. They watch each other back, proper friend. But if you notice around the images in the background, there is several books. Yeah, there is several books, you know, and I draw for some book that, you know, say, from where we used to have the ABC book. Yeah, that little brown book there. And we come up different book that sometimes, honestly, we doesn't spend enough time to kind of go through these books and, you know, read some interesting thing. But these youth in the school, these are books that eventually, even when they become adults and they get into their professional, of what professional they choose, they would still grab for these books. And if you notice, there's a special book there in the background that's called The Philosophy and Opinion of Marcus Garvey. I don't know if the IDM see that book there. And that is a book that I see was very striking to be in the images and the books then that I choose in the background, because that book, you know, is really a book that lifts us and educates us this and the whole thing of the Middle Passage and Marcus Garvey philosophy and Marcus Garvey ideology and the whole thing of lifting up African black people in this universe. So we use it through the school and use it, you know, in the background of these two little girls. But this book is there for all of us to read. And the title of this artwork is called Education is the Key. And it is painted on canvas in the 90s.
Yeah, down a yard. Family, I tell you, art lovers, you know, my close family, this was beyond close to me. This was the kitchen that my mom prepared those healthy cuisine that at this point in our life, you know, all of my siblings is still kicking and in master print. And it's amazing that when I come to England, you know, and link up with RUZ, the Rasta United Zion organization, that, you know, Jabone was one of the main mentors there. With Cliffman and Junior and all of the brethren them, you know, Tanaya and all the brethren them. Yeah. And that piece That piece was put in a lithographic print, and it was flying like, trust me, it was flying. People were just grabbing that piece of lithography because it was properly printed. And it's printed by Carl Budan. Carl Budan, one of my bona fide brethren that me and him even stay in a dwelling together in North London. So it's a history, and it come with some mystery, you know, because from my mother kitchen, when the whole way I run up and down at 12 Booby Drive, you know, and I come to foreign with that piece and get it into lithographic piece. And the food them that prepare energize the family right down. Yeah? That piece. Yeah? It is called Donga Yard. That is way back. That piece was painted in the 80s, you know, and because I doesn't see much of that. That is in Westmoreland, you know. In Westmoreland, I always go and visit family member, and for some reason, you know, this little youth, him just is them rabbit, but him just take up the rabbit and I play, and the rabbit is so nourishing. Look on the rabbit now. That rabbit have well fed, and you can see the rabbit happy to be around the little youth and thing. And I say, you know, I never paint nothing like this. I not even ever did thought about painting a rabbit, much less a little youth in Jamaica holding a rabbit. You know? And it become a piece that I just embrace, you know. I think I still have that piece in my collection. I didn't sell it. I didn't sell that piece. I have that piece in my collection. You know, the little, you know, boy and rabbit are called. That was the type. And that is in Westmoreland, you know, in the western part of Jamaica, you know.
That piece is called Standpipe. And that era, I tell you, that era is a special era. It's a little ghetto era by the Gully side, yeah, called Standpipe. But you know that era is in the art of Uptown. Yeah, you got Mona on the right side, you got Ligani Plaza, you got on the other side, you got Lower Mona, and this era is such a vibrant era in basically the produce that come from that era, the people, the youths, the woman, the man, they are productive people. And Standpipe is known for movie. The harder they come, you remember when Jimmy Cliff running on the Gully Bank? Around there, sir.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you remember the movie that they call Rude Boy, I think Shatter.
Yeah.
There's a little piece in that area that is in those movies. Then for some reason, it's like a nice place for making movie, the location. And there's a gully, you know, there's a gully at the side there. Yeah? There's a gully at the side. And it's always the gully part of the movie. They actually shoot those parts, yeah, in Standpipe. And this is what Standpipe is known. I think this is a what you call it? A serious cultural location, which a lot of Jamaican doesn't know. And not just Jamaican, people at large doesn't know that Standpipe is like a movie. like a movie background or a movie set, you know. Go to Standpipe to do documentary and movie. And after they come, I think Shatter and Rude Boy, yeah, they are little seeing those movies from Standpipe. And that piece, I can't recall. And that piece were painted in the 80s. I painted that in the 80s. I think in the early 80s. And it's painted on canvas. And it's in somebody's collection again. That one has been sold, you know, but I think might be in a solid collection. You know, when the people see this live stream, they might go and look for the piece and say, "Oh, yeah, man, I have that piece." Yes, give thanks. Yeah, this is the only one that have this oblong shape. Yeah, 70 by 25. Have this oblong shape, but the scenery that I choose for it just sit right on the canvas. It sits perfect on the canvas. The blue mountain, you know, with the greenery, and we got the landscape in the foreground, you know. And as I said, you know, I was just flowing. So as soon as I put the canvas up, you know, I get the idea what to actually paint on it, and I just paint. You know, I was like, at one time they used to call me the sunset artist. When at my early stage as an artist, you know, they would say, "Oh, that time, you know, I wasn't Akiwali, I was Ansel, you know." And they call me artist and say, "Artist, you are the sunset artist." You know, boy, when you paint the sunset, the sun glisten. But I always like to paint sunset. I like to mix the color, and, you know. And from my apprentice master, you know, Sir Robert Bryan, you know, he really taught me a lot. You know, I've really learned a lot from that human, not just painting, but he taught me life. You know, he taught me humanity, you know, how to connect with human, you know. And, you know, I was blessed to meet him. And he holds a strong part in my autobiography. I ensure that people know about this artist, you know, because he have done great. And a lot of us on this earth, we have come and we go, you know. We're not in touch with him for years, so we don't know what really happened. But he is great, and he helped a lot of us. And I'm one of the first he helped. And I ensure that I record as much information that we went through during the time of painting, along with him at the Trafalgar Artist as his apprentice, you know. So Robert Bryan. Yeah, NEGRIL Sunset. I spent time in NEGRIL, you know, as I youth. Enough time I go down there to try to sell two paintings on the beach and go around Rockland Pine. Them time on the light, not feeling around there. And this is a thing, you know, NEGRIL changed vastly now, you know, because I went there in 2019 with my brother to just, you know, make some link with some people that my brother know. But the NEGRIL that I know in the 80s and the late 70s is not the NEGRIL that I know now. You know, I used to jump off the rock in the Rockland Pine at where they call Risk Cafe. We were the people who was the initiator of diving from those rocks. And now that becomes so famous. I used to jump off of those rocks. You know, I used to swim all over in Risk Cafe in the sea there. Yeah. Because I used to go there to peddle my art. I used to go there to sell my art as a young artist. So NEGRIL Sunset is dear to me. Yeah. Family, feel free to link up, and if you want to get this NEGRIL Sunset, it's yours. It's on the market.
Dunn's River Fall, OCHORIOS, and it's 70 by 50.
Yeah, this is, I tell you, this is one of the famous places that I spend so much time. I used to be one of the artists along with Sir Robert Bryan, because he was a resident artist here. Yeah, and tourists come from left, right, and center to come at Dunn's River Fall to climb the fall. And we were there painting. And I leave Kingston and I went over to spend some time with him, and I meet a couple other traders and other vendors. And we got beautiful time there. Beautiful time. And I always have this in my catalog, Dunn's River Fall. Anywhere I go, I can just take my canvas and paint Dunn's River Fall. Yeah. And now, even speaking now, Dunn's River Fall is very popular on the Jamaica tourist map. You know. So it's here, you know. It's up for sale. Come and grab it. It's 70 by 50. 70 centimeter by 50 centimeters. this one is another section of the same Martha Bray, you know, but it's another section. Yeah, of Martha Bray, Rafting River. But I like to do different section in these places, you know, and the reflection and all of that. Yeah, and this one is 70 by 50. Yeah, and I just play with my brush, you know, play with the colors, get my bamboo out, get my reflection, and you know, so Akiwali art is here, and there is so much to share, and I'm always willing to meet people who are interested in the art. We can talk, you know. I've spent time in school talking to children, talking about my book, you know, and you know, it's always going to be interesting to meet new faces, new interest in the art, and just roll, you know, and give thanks to Sir Cliff and Jeff that been doing a great work with this production. Yes, this one is called Big Catch. This is called Big Catch. And this piece was painted, it was painted in 06, you know. This is one of the 06 pieces. Yeah, 2006. And it's painted on canvas. It's a huge piece as well. Yeah, I think I sold this piece. It's in a collection. I sold this piece. And this is called Big Catch. And what happened, you know, it is something that is not popular in Jamaica. With so much seashore we have and so much fishermen go to sea to catch. Yeah? These people actually run one of these fresh pan, these panfish. These are panfish. Yeah? And they are pulling fish from the pan. Yeah, and this is how I capture this image. Yeah, and you can see it's a big catch because there's a lot of fish, and some of the fish is actually jumping back in the water. Yeah, and the people is excited to pull as much fish to put in their basket or in their whatever tub, whatever they have there. You know, they are collecting the fish, and the main person is ensuring that they get as much fish out of the net. You know, and it is something that I said again, I always like to go, I would say to go to that distance, yeah, to bring something out with my paint and my canvas, which is not popular in the eyes of the society. You don't see these images much, but it is part of our culture. You know, and this is a great thing. There's another thing again with artists. We remind people. We use our brush to remind people. And I'm happy for that because this is something that might be hard to see another image of that regular. But it was there. You know, I would imagine it's still there, but where it is. You know, but it is, I have it on the canvas. And it is good to share it.
I mean, the point you just made, Aki, about art being a record. Art is the initial and the first means through which we communicate it to the next generation. We look at the paintings that we find in...
It's very important. It's very important.
Critical proud society.
Yeah, it's important because we capture a lot of things that is not popular anymore in the society. Yeah? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things about all the asham where they sell little people in my school. They're not picking now buy asham. They might buy sweet where make a China and make a boat from a boat where they might ship. And sometimes you don't know what basically in a sweetie or in a what they ship into the so the culture changed. It changed. The whole technology and the culture it changed. Yeah. This one is my inner mind painting as well. This is paint and what we would see as chimney. We call it chimney at Jamaica. Over here, them call it patty. But this is an old enamel chamber pot. Yeah, that is the name, chamber pot. Yeah, and I collect. I was so much interested in collect as much of these kind of stuff and turn them into an art piece. Yeah, and at the bottom is a different is an image, and if you go around, if you look around the side, there are different images, and these were painted. I painted these in the 2000s because when I was doing the exhibition, when I was doing the art festival here at Gully, that was the time me and my brother. We done a couple years over there, and this was the time we were painting these enamel, and we were painting drums, and we were painting bins. We paint a lot of things because this is where the wearable and usable art come in, you know. But there is some more interesting piece to come.
May I just ask about that pot? Do you still have it? I'm interested to know what's painted on the bottom. I want to turn it up and have a look. But chamber pots have been quite decorative over the years.
Okay.
I used to...
Here what happened? I didn't paint inside. I only paint outside. I leave inside just as how it was. As it have all them chip and all those because it's enamel, you know, chip up and rusty up. I leave that in, but I do all my artwork on the outside, the bottom and the outside. You know? Honestly, Sir Cliff, I don't know where that is yet. Now this is another interest again. This was around the fairground where we were. These are just the normal drums that people in the fairground or in the festival would throw their rubbish and all of that. Yeah? And we decide to decorate them. We and the promoter, we talk with the promoter and say, you know, we can decorate the drum and kind of give life to the show. And trust me, this one came out good. Yeah? And it was me and my brother, me and Donovan. Yeah, the both of us do it. And we are still open. Anybody interested with an old drum, and they can reach Akiwali. Akiwali will come decorate it for them. And as we said, we preserve it because we actually give it, first we give it second life. Yeah, and then when we actually do that artwork on it, we would actually do a varnish to protect the art. So it would be protected because it's outdoor. You know, it's not going to stay indoor, it's outdoor. Yeah? And you know, we have experiment on them and it came out well. But we're looking to bring it to a next level. You know, and we are still open to paint as much drum as people want us to paint. Here in the United Kingdom or in Jamaica, anywhere, just ship we in and we paint your drum and decorate your plaza, your shopping center, whatever. Or traveling, and this was when I came to the United Kingdom, when I came to London, and that is in Brixton. That is Cole Harbour Lane and Railton Road. Yeah, we have the famous art shop at the corner there. Yeah. The art man is my brethren. My brethren did run that shop there. And then you have Atlantic Pub on the other side. You know? So that is a memory of what Brixton was in the 80s. Because I first came to England in 1984, if I remember, 1983, 1984. And that one was painted in the 80s, in the latter part of the 80s. Yeah? And it is one of my prized pieces as well, but it is in the hands of a collector, as I said. I don't remember who I sell it to. If I sell it, yes, I know, but I don't own it anymore. Somebody else has it. And it's a huge piece. It's a huge piece and it was free. Yeah? So it is in the hands of some collectors, you know, but it's one of my prized pieces as well. It is called Brixton. That's the title. Brixton. Yes, this is acrylic and it painted. This one was a knack for me. I was taking images and and just making formation on one canvas, all these images. And it is called the Ancestral Spirit. This one is titled the Ancestral. And this is another lithographic piece of mine. Yeah? And in my possession, I have thousands of these in lithograph. So if people interested in this particular piece of artwork, they can get it in lithographic print. Just contact us and they can get this one because I got thousands and thousands of them. This one is connecting me to my ancestor back in Africa. And I was like studying images because I went to Ghana in 1989, and that was first when I put my foot on motherland, and it was like a cleanser for me. It was like a spiritual cleansing, and it was a mental cleansing for me because of what I see in Africa. I was so embraced by my brothers and sisters. And we don't go over there and talk about friend, and we don't talk about cousin and them things there. It's just auntie, uncle, brother and sister, mother and father. We were so close. And the people that I meet, you know, and that was a good experience for me because it was my first travel into Africa. And I went there to promote the art, to promote the profound art. Yes, this one is called Water Time. It is recess, you know, a school, the children get a school break. But if you notice the way back in the days, and I think maybe you still find it in some school in Jamaica, where they actually set the pipe. Yeah, they set the pipe in a way where you have like 3-4 children can drink at the same time. And they have to ensure that they keep their hand clean. And they put the hand there, turn the pipe on and drink from the tap. And these water, I would imagine at that time, there wasn't so much chemical and chlorine in the water, but this was refreshing for the children, yeah? And, you know, I always try to have an eye. I like to paint children in school. I like to paint children doing things. I like to paint people in the wider society that sometimes is, you don't see it in the main media. Sometimes I don't see some of these images so much in the main media. And I like to use my canvas to remind people or to share with people that this is a strong part of our culture. And our culture is so diversified that, you know, we can get, there is so much. And just by going to school and seeing how the children play, and I got even some nice pieces with children playing, and these one were painted. This one was particularly painted in the 80s, yeah. And it is called Water Time, and I put in brackets school break, recess, you know, and that. And it was painted on canvas, acrylic on canvas. Yes, this is called, the peanut porridge man. You see, this is same like when we was talking earlier about the cone man, the man that sell the ice cream. It's the same peddling to support your family. This is you create your own job, yeah? And this man create a job by selling peanut porridge. And this man peanut porridge is not joking. Anywhere you're in at the town, you know, and you hear a peanut porridge man at home, you know. You want a cup of peanut porridge in the morning. You know. So a lot of the eaglers who sell like in downtown and sell in different marketplaces, sometimes they have to rush to the market with them wares and sometimes and send them children to school that they don't find time to even make a cup of tea, you know, or eat up a little breakfast or something. So when them come to market in the morning, the peanut porridge man ready to energize them with a nice cup of peanut porridge, yeah. And this one was painted in 06. Now we're going into 06 now, yeah. The thing changed now. This was painted in 206, yeah. And I got a few interested images that I was pulling in around that year. In 206, I was really painting some strong images, and that is one of them, the peanut porridge man. And I remember that somebody bought that piece from me. somebody buys that piece from me. They have an office in South Camp Road, near to Sabina Park, and they bought that piece. So it is in, I would imagine this is in a solid collection. Yeah, years ago. Is acrylic again, paint and canvas. Yes, this is the level now where Akiwali take the art to. This is the Ligani promotion where we've been doing it for many years. Me and my brother have been a part of the Ligani Art Festival. And the same era what I was just telling you about Standpipe. Yeah? This plaza and this shopping center is just on the other side from Standpipe and Old Oak Road. Yeah? And what happened? Me and my brother was a part of the promotion for this show where we were painting like drums, we were painting other things, and the first year we take part in that show, we paint that vintage VW, where a lot of people call Bob. Yeah, VW Bob, and it was really an art piece. It was a driving art piece. Because on the opening of the show, you know, I drove it around and then park it at the location that I think is best for people to see, to pull them into the show. Yeah? So I drove it and parked it right at the front of the plaza. Yeah? And me and my brother paint, me and Donovan Walters, my younger brother, is an artist. I think eventually he's going to be on this platform at some point. Yeah? And it's the both of us actually paint that Volkswagen. And it's just art coming out farm, and we never limit ourselves. Anything you bring to us, we can use our brush and turn it into an art piece. And there is some surprise will be coming for the viewers in the different things that we use to paint and turn into art pieces.
Yes, you see again, Akiwali. No stopping Akiwali, because Akiwali just didn't work, you know. Yeah. A brethren of mine invite me over to Colchester, you know. Adi Amin. Yeah. Brilliant brethren, you know, very cultural and very uplifting. He's back in Trinidad now. He invited me over to Colchester, you know, to meet a couple of people. And apparently these people were operating a restaurant, a Caribbean restaurant. Yeah, and they wanted to kind of have that kind of flavor, you know, when you enter in their restaurant. And they commissioned me to paint that like a mural, you know. And and that mural, it was there for a while. Eventually I think somebody come and I think they moved. And it's so sad that they didn't preserve it in no form or shape. I think they basically actually paint it out. This is the thing with art and people and all of that, you know. But at that time, and it was the first full mural that I ever do in the United Kingdom.
Memories won't live like people do. They always stay with us. Don't care where the few went. Memories. This one is called Massai Queen. And this is a piece of artwork that I painted in the 80s. And when I went through a time when I was using molding paste to actually lift my artwork on the canvas so you could feel the subject matter. Yeah, and this particular piece were one of those prize pieces. Yeah, and it is called Massai Queen. And what I use like rope, like these little thin rope. In Jamaica we call it cord, to actually put around the neck and use the molding paste to show those different symbols around the Massai Queen neck. Yeah, so all of those were like cord and these little fine rope, and I use the molding paste to develop that. But unfortunately, I've done a show in New York in 2004, and they call it Art by the Seashore. Yeah, and they call it Art by the Seashore, and that was promoted by some promoters. Yeah, and all the pieces that we put in from the collectors, from the Trafalgar collectors, myself, Paul Blackwood, Courtney Morgan, Donovan Walters, yeah, we supply a lot of pieces in that show, yeah. And the promoter for the show eventually told us that the show went into bankruptcy and they didn't return the piece, and we lose all our artwork. And that was my prize piece. At this time, as I'm sitting here, that piece of artwork is valued about 10,000 US. That piece of artwork is a huge piece, yeah? And all those pieces were stolen, were just taken away, and we never able to see them again, yeah? And that was one of, so that brings a strong memory. And even in my book, yeah, in my autobiography, that piece, I use that image in my autobiography and talk about, you know, how powerful that piece was to me and what it has done for me. And it just strengthened me. All of that strengthened me to go forward. And we pedal forward, you know. Massai Queen have been taken away from me. I don't know where it is, who own it. Yeah, I didn't sell it. I lose it through that exhibition. And many other pieces, including my brother, Donovan Walters, Courtney Morgan, and Paul Blackwood. We lose all our pieces through that show because the promoter said that they went into bankruptcy. That one was painted in the 80s. And that is called the unseen. Whoa. This one was an artful for me. And what happened? And I was privileged to travel the globe, you know. I traveled so many countries. And sometimes, you know, the things that you basically exposed to in the Caribbean, you're in the so-called third world, because one world we know. So you can't come to about the first, second, third, and fourth, and fifth world. It's one world we know. Yeah? And the so-called third world, what you find that unseen, that guy is a mental retarded person who is ravaging in the garbage. Yeah? But the ironic of this man, that he were there in the midst of everybody, and he was there in the midst of the marketplace going through the garbage and everybody is going about doing their marketing, doing their thing, and I do them shopping, and they are focusing on them, and he was there in the middle, but he was unseen. He was unseen by the public. He was unseen by the powers to be. He was unseen by everybody around him, and yet he was so visual in the midst of all of us. And this is something that he said, you know what, this is a lick, and it is so important. And when I travel overseas, I see the same images. Yeah, not just basically with African people in Jamaica, or Jamaican as most people would say Jamaican, but I come to the United Kingdom, I go to America, I see the Caucasian ravaged in the garbage. I go to Japan. Yeah, and you see it all about. You might don't see it in certain numbers, but it is there. Yeah, and I see it as the unseen, because these are people who are very valuable still into our society, but they become the outcasts. Yeah? And I just bring it into the light of the greater public in the middle of my exhibition and remind them of this guy that is just as important like any one of us. We just need to take care of him. And even just the general people who find themselves into that situation. And the title again, I'm going to say, is The Unseen. Yeah? And give thanks.